today's session, we would want to share our knowledge. Whatever knowledge we have, we would like to share, and whatever knowledge you people have, we would want you to share your knowledge, such that we will ensure that, all of us take the right knowledge, right message, and right information to the relevant people. So what is GST? And this is going to be more of an interactive section. I'm not going to keep talking, right? So we are going to keep debating. So what is GST? Goods and service tax, okay. But GST also stands for God Save the Taxpayer, okay. And also it stands for God Save the Tax Practitioners. Right. And our Prime Minister said that it is a great step towards transition or transparency, great step towards transparency. But as we go forward, it is not just transparency, it is stripping up of the businesses. Right. That's the kind of, the system controls that the GST is envisaging. And it's a big, major change that is going to happen. And we will see a lot of things under this GST. So it's going to be once in lifetime opportunity for every one of us. As a software company, as a tax consultant, professionals, tax experts, and your clients who are going to benefit out of it. It's a once in lifetime opportunity. We will also see what is that opportunity. And today, what we are going to discuss most importantly is that what is this GST? We will try to understand. We demystify it, and then we will see what is this GST is all about and what preparedness is required by us first, such that we can now give confidence to our client and gain their trust, saying that yes, my auditor is there, I don't have to worry about GST, but yes, they have to really worry about it, because otherwise your life is going to become a nightmare. Right. So how many of you here, okay, first is very important correction. GST stands for Goods and Services Tax. That yes, we keep forgetting, because it is so sweet, we forget it. So it's Goods and Services Tax. Okay. So how many of you here know the basic or the fundamentals? Know the basics or the fundamentals of GST. So because we don't want to get into again what you know, we don't want to spend too much time on that. So we will definitely touch on what both of us need to know more on that, but basics of that, if we know, then probably we can skip. So I'll run through the slide. If you feel that you are aware of that, we will just move faster, right? For the majority of interest of the majority of the people. So how many of us have a fair understanding of the GST? Can you see the hand? 1, 2, 3, 4. So good. So we are good to go. I have 40 slides which is going to go on till 12 o'clock in the night. So we can use all those slides now. Very good. All right. So now, how have we now planned this program? One is that we will definitely have introduction to GST. Then we will see what are the GST highlights. We'll quickly run through whatever information you already know. We will skip it and then quickly run through it. Then we will talk about the registration process, because not in detail, everything we are going to just touch on this thing, because this GST is like an elephant. Alright, so we have to eat it bite by bite and then keep digesting. That's why the government has become very, very intelligent now. And they have learned the lessons from the movie called Kabali. Right. So Kabali movie trailer, people were very thrilled. And when the movie came, we know what happened, right? So now government have learned the lesson from that, and now what they have done, one is the draft law was made available on 14th of June 2016 on the public domain. Now in the last 2-3 days, the rules have started coming, the formats have started coming. So now they are releasing the trailer bit by bit. Right. So finally, after everything, you will ask, where is the movie? They will say, add up everything, bind it together, that is the movie. Right. So, and it's a good thing to happen, because you have too much thing, it becomes scary for us to digest. Okay. So, we will talk on the registration part quickly, saying that, okay, what happens to my existing dealers, how they will get transition into GST is one thing that we will see. Then we will also quickly run through what is the GST compliance, because this is the most critical thing that is going to happen, and this is what is going to make or break everyone's life. Very important aspect. Then we will also have brief inference of the comparison. So this point, I mean, basically we wanted to bring it so that, we know that, okay, GST is not that a real big unknown devil, right? It is kind of old wine in the new bottle. So whatever drawbacks, whatever bottlenecks, or whatever, shortcomings were there in the previous law, those are, they are trying to bring it here and then, make the corrections and see how those things can be taken care. So we will also quickly walk through that, and then we will see, this is going to be the most important section for us, which is what is the GST impact. What is the impact of GST for every stakeholder, and then what should be our preparedness, what should be your client's preparedness, what should be your preparedness, and what should be our preparedness as a technology solution provider. Then, what is this technology? Because we must have heard about this, saying that, GST is technology driven compliance system in our country. So what is this technology, and how we will discover that how this technology is going to be the most important critical element for successful implementation of GST. So 14th of June 2016, the draft model law was made available on the public domain. The government was inviting opinions, feedback and suggestions, those kind of things. A lot of things have gone. Probably there was one opinion by our managing director, Mr. Bharat Goenka. First opinion, very, very important and major opinion that was given, right? So, which we will also discuss, that what is that thing, and which is what is going to be a crucial aspect in the implementation of GST for all of us to understand first, internalize it, and then disseminate the knowledge and make sure the compliance is happening as per the current requirement that is there. Then on 3rd of August, Rajya Sabha passed the bill. Then on 8th of August, Lok Sabha passed the amendment bill. And I'm sure all of us are aware of what is this Amendment 122. So we don't really go into that thing. The Amendment 122 was a very, very critical thing, because if Amendment 122 was not passed, then the GST would have not come into force. Okay. Then on 8th of September, finally President gave the assent to the law. 12th of September, Cabinet approved the formation of the GST Council. So we are aware what is this GST Council, right? So one good thing that is going to happen in GST, because see, this is something, the big brother and the cousin brother are coming together. And it took almost 13 to 15 years for these people to understand, okay, let us walk together. Now we don't know how easy it is going to be, both of them walking together, but then at least they have come to an understanding that let us walk together. Right. So now, because of this, the central government and the state government are now going to work cohesively for the compliance system in our country. It is very important for a consensus. So the GST Council is something where the Honorable Union Finance Minister is heading the council, and all other state finance ministers will be the members of the council. Now what happens in the council? Any decision that is going to be taken, whether to do it or not to do it, 2/3 majority have to vote for it or vote against it. So based on that is what we will see, a lot of changes, a lot of modifications that is going to happen. Some introductions could be there, some modifications to the existing law could be there, and some elimination also probably could be there. Okay. So this is what was approved, and then government notified the GST Council. They said, yes, now we have formed the GST Council. And on 22nd and 23rd, the first GST Council meeting happened, and it went on pretty well. No major controversies or anything. And one of the first decisions that the GST Council made was that, probably that the threshold limit which was specified, 5 lakh and 10 lakh, Now they have agreed to increase to 10 lakh and 20 lakh. Right? So we will see those things. Then, 3 days back, so this is the second trailer. So the first trailer was draft law. So the second trailer is on 3 days back, which is on 26th. The draft rule was made available on the public domain regarding registration. Have you just gone, anybody seen the registration form? No, you are all very busy with audit, right? Tax audit, right? So the registration form is 10-page. 10-page registration form. Okay, and there are rules. So the registration rules, the registration formats, payment rule, payment format, then your tax invoice rule and tax invoice format is made available. Right? Now, day before yesterday, that is 27th, 2 days back, this is very, very important, very, very crucial. Right? In fact, till about 4:30 we were sitting in the office and then preparing the presentation. Because there were so many forms, so many changes. We need to understand the rule, see the rule and see what implications, such that we can pass on this information quickly to you so that you are also enlightened about it. So 2 days back we had this draft return rule and written format have been given. Earlier we know that GST had 8 forms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But today if you take all the forms put together in GST, it's going to be, for all the entity, there are 19 forms. Okay? Under GST, which needs to be complied by the various categories of dealers. So introduction to GST. Yes, we have been hearing a lot that it is a significant indirect taxation, a revolution that is going to happen in our country since independence. Right? So this is a major changes. Then we have heard this caption, or we have heard this tagline, right? So one nation, one tag. So when we hear that, I just want to know, what is Tally's tagline? Power of simplicity. Right? So I just remember a joke. I'll just say that in Kannada. There was this doctor who he started a new nursing home, and then he called the marketing guy, Govardhan, right? And then he told him that, see, I want a very good tagline for my hospital. ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ಲೈನ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಅವರು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ಲೈನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರು. ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬನ್ನಿ ಒತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರು. Right? So that's the tagline. So we need to see whether we are going to have really one tax. Nation too is going to be one, right? And we'll have to really see whether it is one market. So whatever is available today, whatever is available in form of draft law that has been available on the public domain, and whatever is this latest information that is available, regarding that, any clarification probably we should be capable of handling. Anything which we don't know, I have to go and find out from the finance minister and then clarify to you people. Right? So we will see how we can progress forward. See, one very important, I think probably you people would have realized that as the days are going by, like from 3rd of August, the heat of GST really picked up. Right? So GST is not just a tax reform. It is a major business process reform. What does it mean? It means that every business have to now relook into their infrastructure, including the people infrastructure. Right? Similarly, as tax experts, as auditors, as tax consultants, there is going to be a major shift in your way you are going to work, the way you need to now set up your infrastructure, and now you need to plan, and it is already late. We have already lost almost 45 days. We will have to get into it, and we will see why this urgency, what is this important. We will definitely see this. Okay? And it is not just an incremental taxation, but it is a transformational taxation. What is this transformational taxation that we are talking about? Is that how, the central taxation and the tax taxation are going to get subsumed, and how these are going to be managed and administered by the state and the central government. One major thing, the GST is very important for all of us, especially for experts like you, that you have to read in between the lines, because there are a lot of things that you need to start interpreting on this thing. First thing that is going to, we have to see is that, okay, first is that we have to unlearn the existing law, knowledge of existing law, and we need to now start relearning. Okay, it's very important. So it is destination based consumption tax. All this while, we know that what do we mean by destination based consumption tax, right? Or should I have to just quickly? Yeah? Okay. So what is destination based? Today what is happening? Right? When let's take a case of a VAT. When I am selling the goods, it is at the origin. Right? So which means to say that, when the tax that is going to be applied on that, or the tax liability that is going to arise, is going to be at the source, right? Which means in Karnataka, right? So going forward, it is the tax, the revenue. See, broadly this is the revenue determination for the government. The tax revenue is determined based on the destination. Where is the destination? And it is on consumption. So again, there are a lot of things that we need to forget. So we have to, first of all, we have to forget the sale, purchase, right? All those things we have to forget, and we need to now start learning new terminologies. So we will see what are those new terminologies that we need to learn. So basically, very important thing that we need to understand, that this is destination based consumption tax. How it is going to be applicable, what are the implications, we will see as we move forward. And GST is a highly compliance driven law. Let's underline this, and we will see that what is this compliance driven and what is this importance that we are talking about the compliance driven. We will discover as we move forward. Okay. Now this draft law that is made available publicly, if you see, including the IGST Act, there are totally 25 chapters, and there are 184 sections totally of this law. And if you see the definition, there are 109 definitions. So we have 4 schedules which says what is this, what you have to do, like for example, consideration. How do you say whether it is consideration, not consideration, who is supposed to under taxation, what are the exemptions being provided for certain government bodies, and those kind of things, right? So that are the 4 schedules. Now in this, if you see, 128 times one word repeats throughout the law, which says as will be notified. 128 times it says as will be notified. 26 times it says as decided by the GST Council. So what does it mean? See, it means that this is just the tip of an iceberg is what we are talking about. And just to talk the tip of an iceberg, we can take hours together to discuss this. So some of the thing, like 128 places, I said it is saying that as per prescribed, as to be notified. Probably when we said that in the last 3 days, these rules, everything has come. So out of 128, maybe 20, 30 line would have gone down. But still, definitely you have a bulk of 70, 80 places where you still don't know what they are going to prescribe, what they are going to notify, and what the GST Council is going to decide. Okay? So why GST? Anybody have an idea? Why do you need GST? Because government wants to give, we want GST, right? Pardon me? Uniformity. Anything else? Anything else? Uniformity? Don't worry. No penalty marks for wrong answers. Right? One nation, one tax. Okay. Level playing field, okay. Anything else? Anything else? Bringing? Bringing foreign investment is okay. Anything else? Stabilization. Centralization, okay. Better competition or compliance? Better competition, better compliance. Right, right. So the most important thing that we need to know that I think people cannot see from the back, it is simple tax structure. Right. So there are no, see today if you take the case of VAT, different state have different schedule and some item might have different rate in different state. Right. So that is one thing that is going to get eliminated, and you don't have to worry about HSN code of excise. That's why most of you are not involved in excise at all. But unfortunately, you people are pulled into excise now, whether you like it or you don't like it. Right. So excise, you have to remember those things, schedules, and you have to remember a lot of French words you have to remember, right? Ad valorem. No, you don't even know what is this ad valorem. Then it says ad quantum. Then it says ad valorem plus quantum. So all this confusion. Service tax is another problem. Reverse charge mechanism. Now what is this reverse charge? One, I know that forward charge. So what is this reverse charge? Right. So these are the things that are there. Everything gets eliminated. This is going to be very, very simple. And it is not that simple what I am saying. Okay. Everything is going to be very, very simple, and the taxation structure is going to be simple taxation structure. Next, what is that we have? Eliminates cascading effect. 12 years back, we were talking about cascading effect. We said that's the great revolution that is happening in VAT, and it's going to eliminate cascading effect. Now, what is this further cascading effect this guy is going to eliminate? Any idea? Any idea? Please, please, please. I want you people to speak. GST input is available. Anything else? In which form? Yeah, more or less, yes. See, very important thing for us to understand from a layman's perspective, it is very, very simple. Most of the product gets manufactured in India, right? And people who are covered beyond 1 lakh, 1.5 crore are registered under excise duty. So they are going to charge excise duty. Now I am a dealer or I am a wholesaler. Now that excise duty that has been charged, as a wholesaler, can I take input tax credit of that? No. Straight away, whatever the 12.5% or whatever percentage is there, the entire money is going to go towards the cost when I am going to sell it to somebody else. Right? So, that is the first major change that is going to happen. Right? Under GST, every person in the supply chain are going to get continuous credit across the supply chain till it reaches the final consumer. Okay, that is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is tax on tax. What is the tax on tax? So what is cascading? So what, can we have an example saying that tax on tax? What is this tax on tax? Saying that tax on tax. What is this tax on tax? Yes. VAT is charged on assessable value plus excise duty. So that is tax on tax. It is also kind of a cascading effect, right? So these are the two major cascading effects, and as some gentleman made a statement there, the CST. Now my CST purchase, I was not eligible for taking input tax credit, but under GST now I can take it. So we cannot set off my excise. So to an extent, yes, if I am a service provider and if I am also registered under excise, based on some condition, then I can cross set off my excise with service tax and service tax with my excise. But 100% I cannot go and cross set off with my VAT. Right? The industry that is going to be impacted. See, what is that we have been hearing? Right? So now we were saying, one is that we said that it is a simple tax structure. So which means basically, and we also know that it is one tax, one nation, one market. So if that is the case, we should have only one. I mean, whatever rate I am saying. So there will be a slab rate in GST also. But if you say one rate, what is that? See, we were talking. I mean, like we have been hearing or we have been seeing news or we are reading in the paper
that the currently they have not still finalized the standard rate. So what is the standard rate? Again, the standard rate is basically based on the R&R. So what is R&R? Revenue neutral rate. So how revenue neutral rate is calculated? It is basically, it is taking the total revenue that has been collecting, government is collecting for any particular given year, and what is the probable revenue collection that is going to come, and whatever is the percentage. So if you see today, what is the R&R rate? Because we have various taxation, right, under state and central. So what can you imagine what is the R&R rate that today 27, 28, 30% is what is the R&R rate which is there, right? So now we are talking about the standard rate. So what is the standard rate? Basically it could be somewhere between 18 to 20 to 22%. So what is the current rate of service tax today? 15%. So supposing if standard rate becomes 20%, so then 5% it is straight away going to impact. And in the last economic survey, it was said that 67% of the revenue that the government gets from taxes is service taxes. So we need to see what is going to happen and how this will be handled, right? So yes, but broadly if you see, it is going common. So it means a lot of guys need to be, people who have not been covered under the excise net will now come under the GST. So one is that aspect that we can see as a increase in the revenue. Second is from the consumer. Finally, every one of us as a consumer is what is going to bear the brunt of the tax. Whether there is increase, immediately it is burdened on us. If it is decrease, then they have to start thinking, saying that what are all the loss that they have to recover, so that only partially the decrease will going to go passed on to us generally, right? So from this, if you see the increase part, if you see, is that we were talking about this cascading effect of excise duty which the dealer cannot do. So if you just take that portion itself is what is going to be the increase in the revenue for the end consumer also. Just to get an idea. Okay. So quickly highlights on the GST. This is what we were talking about. Now under GST, there is no distinction between. So first is that there is no, under GST there is no concept called manufacture or sale or provision of service. Okay. Now there is going to be a new word that we need to learn, which is, I will be covering that little later, which is the supply. Right. So GST is applicable on supply inward or supply outward. If there is supply, then there is a point of taxation for GST. Okay. So there is no manufacture, there is no sale and all those things, right? So that is one aspect. Now if you see the common threshold limit, service tax had 10 lakh as the threshold limit for registration, excise 1.5 crore, and again VAT, if you see, from 5 lakh to yeah, northeastern state they are still 5 lakhs. I am talking about the VAT across the country. It ranges between 5 to 25 lakhs. Delhi is 25 lakhs is the threshold limit for registration. So these are the variations which are there. Just imagine the kind of the difficulty that if I am having multiple branches across my country and I have to comply to various VAT compliances across the country, it's going to be very, very difficult, right? So now one major thing and greatest thing that is happening is there is going to be a common threshold limit, which means for this type of people, X is the common threshold limit, irrespective of whether you are a manufacturer, whether you are a trader, whether you are supplier of service. There is no more provision of service, right? So that is the threshold limit, okay, which is going to be very, it is going to be common. The other thing we have discussed about it, that there is going to be a continuity in the tax credit across the supply chain. Every person can now take the credit of input tax credit irrespective of whether is, because it's going to be one single registration, right? So the input can be set off against the output liability, and the net liability only the person is going to pay across the supply chain, and this is going to be really, really value added tax that is going to be implemented. So this is what is the result we saw is it is eliminating the cascading effect. Okay, so there is no tax on tax, and there is no tax component is going to get added to anybody's cost in the supply chain. PAN based registration. What is PAN based registration? Yeah, so today in excise and service tax, so it is PAN based registration, but in VAT, GST is, no, that is okay. Whatever number 15 digit that they are giving, we have to take it. We cannot say I don't like this number. Right? So I am saying, what do you understand? What do you mean by PAN based registration? No, that is why I am saying it is very important. Now this is going to hit your business. Yes. See, today what happens? Karnataka, what is the threshold limit for regular dealer? 7.5, is it? 7.5. 10 lakh. 10 lakh. So now I start a business. So you are my consultant, you are my auditor. Right. So one business is only 3 lakhs, or maybe I have 3 different divisions. Now I know that this is going to give me only annual turnover of 3 lakhs and all those things. So now one is that I don't have to really get into it. I don't have to register. Or if I want to register, then what I will do is, once one fellow crosses this, then I will go and register. So now you will have multiple registration. Alright, so now you don't have that work. So your your time spent in 5th building from here will be lesser, because it is going to be PAN based. Whether you have 1 company or 25 company, if your threshold limit is going to exceed 20 lakhs for regular dealer, right? So now you open 20 companies, no problem. But all 20 companies will be now covered under GST. This is one major change that is happening under the GST regime. Okay. This is what I was talking about. So now it is supply, right? So there is no more saying manufactured or sale or provision of services. So supply, if you are supplying goods or services, then there is going to be a tax liability. So quickly, which I was talking about, the valuation method, especially in case of excise, right? So you have multiple valuation methods, and even in VAT we have this MRP, right? Excise also has got MRP, and this also got the MRP is a big problem, right? Right. So now government understood your problem. So what they said, under GST, broadly valuation method is going to be transaction. So what do we understand by transaction value? Very simple. In a layman's word, quantity into rate is equal to amount. That is my transaction value. Broadly, that is what is there, but still there are some exceptions. Assessable value, right? So there are some exceptions. Again, like I said, we are only today touching on the fundamentals of it. We are not deep diving into any of this problem statement. We will have other sessions to understand this, each subject in a segmented thing. So there are exceptions to transaction value if it is a related party. So many other conditions are also there. Right? Branch transfers taxable and credit eligible. Today, under the VAT regime, there is no Form F. Form F we provide, and then there is no tax. But why this tax? Now we will understand the word supply. You supply, forget whether you are supplying to your father-in-law, brother-in-law, your branch, or your enemy, charge tax, because you are supplying. Okay. So you give tax here and take credit here. That's all. Paperwork has to increase, right? Right. So this is the branch transfer, right? So every branch transfer has, forget about branch transfer, even if you are supplying to your agent. Okay, you are supplying to your agent, right? Now unfortunately your agent doesn't have any threshold limit, because he is supplying on behalf of you as a principal. That guy, there is no threshold limit. Even if he is doing 1 rupee transfer of material, he has to register under GST. Okay. This I think we discussed about that on the interstate purchases, right, whatever is the tax element that is there is now available as input tax credit. Big thing, no declaration form, right, because half the time your staff is only going to the department to get this form, correct? So no declaration form. Pardon me? Reminder to suppliers, nothing, very simple life is.